Who is timing you? Awesome. All right, so recorder. All right, Austin.
Is timer going?
Anytime you are ready, sir.
All right. Now imagine, if you will, a power source with virtually no greenhouse emissions, unlike coal and oil, is not disruptive to wildlife like wind and hydro can be, yet is not limited by location like solar and geothermal may be. Sounds like something from the future, doesn't it? But actually it's a power source we've been working on for the better part of a century. This is nuclear energy. Now, nuclear energy can carry massive benefit to humanity and the environment if used correctly, but if mishandled can result in catastrophe. In this time, we will take time to explore the origins, the controversy, and the benefit of this less understood energy source. Now, how did nuclear energy originate? At the turn of the 20th century, massive discoveries were made in the way that atoms, radiation, were observed and studied. In 1938, German scientists found that significant energy release happened when neutrons were shot at uranium atoms, which resulted in a reaction called fission reaction, splitting the atom. Now, for the history buffs in the room, you may know that Hitler and his Nazi party were in charge of Germany at the time, in 1938, and about to embark on a conquest of both Western and Eastern Europe. Leading scientists at the time were worried about the development of atomic weapons, leading to Albert Einstein writing to then President of the United States, FDR, about the creation of atomic weapons. This led to the start of the Manhattan Project, which resulted in the first fission ignition, which was a chain reaction of atoms which resulted in large energy transfer and explosions. Now, the Manhattan Project had developed the Fat Man and Little Boy atomic bombs, which were the only time that nuclear weapons were used in combat. This is what ended the war in August of 1945 in Japan when they were dropped on Hiroshima and later Nagasaki. Now, while the Second World War ended, the Cold War had begun. Not only was the Cold War a nuclear arms race, but it was also a race of nuclear energy. 1951 saw the first year that an atomic power plant had opened in the United States, with Russia following shortly in 1954. Now, where this one-upmanship had led to a lot of developments in nuclear energy, corners were cut and disaster had followed. Much of this controversy stems with the two most notorious nuclear disasters in history: 3 Mile Island incident in 1979 in Pennsylvania, and the 1986 Chernobyl nuclear explosion. Now, whether it is debated that the 3 Mile Island posed significant health risks to the residents, the Chernobyl explosion claimed the lives of 30 people and later left the nearby city of Pripyat uninhabitable for decades to come, with cleanup efforts not expected to wrap until the 2060s, almost 100 years later. This combined risks and shortcomings of nuclear energy led to anti-nuclear protests worldwide. 60 United States plants were scrapped following these disasters, and Chernobyl was found to have faulty cooling systems and lack safety regulations. Research from the University of Southern California found that the Chernobyl disaster was the costliest disaster in human history, with estimated figures exceeding $700 billion in cleanup. But through controversy and tragedy, important developments were made in nuclear safety and with great benefit for mankind and the planet. Advancements in nuclear energy saw production of so much energy with so little negative impact following. The International Atomic Agency found that an egg-sized uranium fuel cell is equivalent to 88 tons of coal. This amount of coal produces 250,000 kilograms of CO2 emissions, compared to a minuscule 3,000 by comparison to nuclear energy. What this means is that current nuclear energy is 80 times cleaner than coal, 60 times cleaner than oil, and 40 times cleaner than relatively clean natural gas. Now, nuclear energy is set to be even more clean and more renewable with the advent of fusion reaction. Fusion is different than fission. Then rather than splitting the atom, fusion combines atoms. While it is years away from being a viable power source, 2022 saw a massive development when the United States government's National Ignition Facility sparked a fusion reaction with a 1.5 output energy. This is big news because with this kind of energy, producing more than the input, it can self-sustain much like the power used by the sun. If utilizing the power of the sun advances far enough, we may have a brighter future for not only energy, but for the planet. A source born of warfare, rife with controversy surrounding fears of destroying the planet and the environment, may be the key to saving it. Thank you.